In a time and place when you can work from anywhere.
Two ladies in their mid to late 27s have decided to.
And they're calling it workationing.
But they're going to need fixers.
I think we'll be needing many of them as we travel.
But how do you find these fixers?
What kind of things do fixers do?
And what type of person signs up to be a fixer for these two broads?
That'd be Santiago and Mauricio.
Hey, sexy baby!
This is the Workationing Podcast.
I would say that. I would say that there's a lot of people raging against the machine in Medellin.
Despite all their rage, they're still just a rat in a cage. All the 90s.
All the time. Your favorite 90s hits. Remixed. Harder than you wanted them or expected. Over here at workationing.com.
Sounds good.
I'm going to tell you about some Oasis.
Wonderwall?
My senior quote, I kid you not, Oasis lyrics. That's how much angst I had.
Which one was it?
I don't want to tell you.
I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours.
Oh my God.
Mine was Prince, though. Mine was sweet.
Oh, shut up. And you're going to come at me with, I'll tell you mine. No. That's going to be very embarrassing for me.
Mine was Prince from Little Red Corvette. It was Saturday night. I guess that makes it all right. Totally appropriate for a high school senior. And not at all worrisome to authority figures.
Oh, mine was, look at all the pretty people living without a care who try to... You're looking at me like, what? You weren't expecting this out of Oasis.
No.
And a 17-year-old Carrie.
No, go for it. Lay it on me. All the pretty people. Let's do this.
No, it's so ridiculous. I used to read all the liner lyrics. Okay, listen. Look at all the pretty people living without a care who try to sit around my table. You're looking at me. I can't even get this out.
Here, I'll look away. I'll look over here.
Okay. All right. God, I can't believe I still know this off the top of my head. Look at...
You're so racked with shame.
I
and
really
guilt.
am. God, it's really angsty.
And I really don't know the rest of those lyrics either.
Look at all the pretty people living without a care who try to sit around my table but never bring a chair.
Oh, all right. All right. All right. I thought we were going like a Bono feed the world sort of way.
No.
But this is more of a like fuck the world.
I don't even know what that... I've wanted to opt out of a lot of things at a young age.
I hear this.
And consistently since then. So we are off the rails. Should we get back on them and talk about fixers?
Yes.
So this episode is all about fixers, how to find them, what they do. I know we have talked about fixers in the past.
We'll probably keep talking about fixers. They've been such a key component for this whole situation.
They make life so much easier on the road.
They really, really, really do.
So we have talked about fixers before. We have interviewed one of our two fixers from Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Shout out, William.
Hey, William. That was in episode 10, Iguana and Iguana. And that particular fixer even went so far as to get a couple gringas some iguana meat.
He sure did. You know, really above and beyond.
Stops at nothing to source that iguana meat.
Yes.
Conch meat, octopus meat, octopi meat.
So for people who may have missed that episode, I feel like we should define fixers right quick.
I know we talked about fixers, obviously, on that episode, but there are a lot of different definitions for fixer. So when I Google fixer,
we tend to not totally agree with the internet's definition of things.
I mean, we like to define things on our own terms.
For instance, and it's usually because they make it more nefarious than we feel like it should be. Like for us, grift. The internet makes you think it's kind of a nefarious word. There's something like a little about it.
Doesn't have to be that way.
No, it doesn't. A grift can be very positive. You're providing value.
Can work out for all parties, a good grift.
It really can. And so we like that word and we've taken it back.
So I think we should also take back fixer because the definition of fixer, according to a little site called Google, I
think I've heard of it.
is a person who makes arrangements for other people, especially of an illicit or devious kind.
Oh, illicit or devious? We would
Never.
We would never.
Never in my life.
I have never. I will never.
No.
And I'm shocked at the implication.
Appalled over here.
Clutching my pearls. But no, for real, like, we come to our fixers for all kinds of things that are not at all illicit or devious in nature.
Well, I wasn't satisfied with that. So, I went on a deeper dive on the word
Gringa,
fixer. Yes. And a fixer, turns out, in journalism, is a local journalist hired by a foreign correspondent to help arrange a story. That's a positive fixer.
That's a little closer.
Fixer in a positive connotation.
Yeah.
Right above that, fixer, see also cleaner, see also friend of the surgeon.
Oh, no, not like that.
Check in 2 episodes back if you want to know what a Medellin surgeon is.
Not for fixing people.
It's not for fixing. He has not taken the Hippocratic Oath.
No.
So a fixer or cleaner is a person who illicitly, there's that I word again.
Illicit again.
It's not a 4-letter word, but
Don't
God, it
come
leaves
at
a bad
me.
taste in your mouth.
Yeah, don't come at me with the I word.
Illicit. So a fixer or cleaner is a person who illicitly cleans up after crimes.
Illicitly cleans up.
So your first stop might be to the surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
Your second stop might be to the fixer.
Mm-hmm. He's going to take you right to the barrel.
You might already be in the barrel and maybe he just mops up around it.
Yeah, maybe he pours in the acid. Maybe he cleans up after.
That is not how we use the word fixer, though.
No.
So our fixers, I would call them a friend and a hero.
Yes, absolutely. These are the people that show up for you on the road. These are the people that help you solve problems. These are the people who bail you out when you get in over your head. These are the people who let you know what the situation is and explain, like, decode the culture for you a little bit so that you don't get strangled or shot.
Yes, yes. And on top of being a friend and a hero, a fixer is also somebody that you have to be a friend and hero for as well. You've got to give what you get.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of road karma going on. We focus on that a lot personally.
Yes.
And it became really real for us here in Medellin.
And we'll talk about what the fixers did for us and also what we did for our fixers.
Yes.
Later on in the podcast. But first, I think that it's really important to underscore the fact that there was a major difference, a key difference between the fixers we had in Medellin and the fixers we had in Puerto Rico. And the primary giant difference is in Puerto Rico, our fixers were imported and prepackaged from New Hampshire.
Yes, these were known to us, even actually known to me already. I had actually even already met them.
They were our friends.
Yeah.
I had known our fixers for years. And Kelly, I'd known them so well that you had met them. And so these were not strangers. These were people we could trust. We wanted to kick off workationing the right way. Everyone in New Hampshire wants a little bit of sunshine.
Oh, absolutely.
Puerto Rico, great place for that. And here, we did not have that luxury. We had to bake up our own fixers from scratch in this kitchen.
No, we literally don't know anyone on this continent. Is that true? Yeah, no, I don't know anyone. Oh, we know Kevin Bloom is on this continent.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin Bloom, but he's far away.
He's way in Chile.
Yeah.
He's chilling in Chile.
Yeah, so we really didn't have anyone in the entire country of Colombia who could... I mean, you think about that, like if you ever get into trouble, if something happens, if your car breaks down, not that we have a car, but, and you don't have anyone to call at all, right? And so we needed help.
In jail. You
Right.
just rot in jail for a while.
Maybe you did. And so we didn't have any of that. So it became obvious to us really quickly when we got to Colombia that we needed to find some fixers, make some friends, because we were just Gringas in a strange land.
And we needed help. We needed to know where to go to for help should we need it. And turns out 2 Gringas in Medellin, Colombia need help a lot.
We need help all the time.
I didn't see that one coming.
No, because at home I'm a fully functional human who can do all manner of things.
I am fully capable of taking care of myself. I do so all of the time.
Right, but you introduce a language barrier, a very foreign culture, and a kind of dangerous environment, and suddenly, like...
With just a slight undertone of is that misogyny?
Yeah. Oh, it's. I smell what the rack is cooking. And it's definitely misogyny. Not The Rock. I would never say that about him. I love him.
No.
Dwayne Johnson. Very foxy. He's no Drew Carey.
God, he's no Drew Carey.
He's no Drew. That's true. Oh, God damn it.
So you've got some misogyny that's really just, you think you've got a glass ceiling that you bump up against in the U.S.
You bump into that ceiling just trying to get groceries around here.
You walk into it because it's a lateral wall. It's not even a ceiling. You're just trying to get from point A to point B on a lateral move, and your glass ceiling has turned 90 degrees, and you're going to slap your face right into it.
So, long story endless, we found two of just the absolute best fixers in Medellin.
We found Mauricio
Hey, sexy baby.
and Santiago.
Ugh, love them.
They're going to be our besties for life, I think.
I really think so. I feel that way about a bunch of people we've met on the road, but our fixers in particular, because I feel like they honestly really saved our lives in a few different ways.
It taught us some things, opened our eyes, helped us become better, savvier travelers, I would say.
So before we get into what they did for us, let's maybe give the people a little sense of who these gentlemen are, because both of them are like super special in their own way.
They are. Okay, so Mauricio
Hey, sexy baby.
is a local.
Yes.
We found a local.
We sure did. We found a Colombian who wanted to hang out with us, which I felt like was a big win.
I think he was just kind of fascinated.
He was
a little bit.
slightly horrified.
Hadn't really seen anything like this before. Maybe wanted to press his face up against that glass and get close to the weird.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was one of Carrie's Tinder finds.
I did. I found him on Tinder.
We actually, our next episode is going to be all about Tindering, so we won't get into that too much, but we have some hot takes on Tindering in cartel country, so stay tuned for that.
Ladies, you're not going to want to miss this because you do not use the same Tinder strategies that you do in the States.
Oh, you sure don't?
No.
You sure do not. But the Tinder game out here is still pretty strong.
Very, very strong.
Fire emojis and eggplants.
As long as you can just dodge a couple tribal tattoos.
That's fine.
You don't mind dodging those tribal tattoos.
You know what, though?
you're
They
good.
love to put them in the pictures, though, so you can just skip right past those.
That's true. Swipe left. Okay, so Mauricio
Hey, sexy baby.
is a sommelier. Ladies.
Such a win, especially in Colombia, because wine is not a huge thing. You don't realize how much millennials have actually really made wine a huge thing in the U.S.
It used to be bigger, except for they just slapped an extra 25%. I think it was 25% is what Mauricio was saying. Tax on wine.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, wine consumption plummeted because I don't know if it was the city or the country started taxing wine at a higher rate. And so the wine is available, but really not really. Do you like JP Chenet sparkling pink wine?
I sure don't, it turns out.
We hate it. Hate it. Not good, not even in a mimosa. The orange juice doesn't help it at all. So to find somebody who knows wine and had access to good wine.
That was huge. Also, wine delivery.
Because delivery is a big thing out here. And we wanted to have a ladies' digital nomad brunch, which we did. We had a couple of them.
It was fantastic. We met some amazing people.
We met Stephanie O'Connell.
Oh, we love her. She is the millennial money expert. We'd love to have her on. We're gonna be hitting that Gringa up. See if we can get her on, because I think
see her everywhere, giving her advice on how to live on a dime.
Yeah.
Plan for your future.
She's fab. We had a great time with her.
So Mauricio
Hey, sexy baby.
hooked us up with the wine for that brunch. He's also a Justin Bieber fan.
Yes, a huge a believer, if you will.
He's a believer. He also likes a little Tupac. Mauricio has a great hairline.
He does. I feel like we're leaving out the most exciting part about Mauricio, at least for me, which is that Mauricio
Hey, sexy baby.
speaks very good English, but Mauricio learned his English in Australia. So he speaks it with an Australian accent,
Hey, sexy baby.
which to me is like endlessly pleasing.
Because he uses Australian and British slang, which I haven't heard before. So it's just three cultures all in one. Because we're bringing the American. He's got the Colombian. But then there's just a splash of Australian coming out of nowhere.
Hey, sexy baby.
Talking about Barbies.
Yes.
Barbie party. And I was like, a blonde model party? And he was like, no! Because fuck!
Well, fuck me.
He loves a good extended fuck, that one. Fuck.
There's nothing more satisfying, though, when you tell a good story and someone goes, fuck. And you're like, yes, that was the response I was going for. Thank you.
So I'm like, what kind of blonde model party are you talking about? And he gives me a fuck. I meant a barbecue. You know?
Shrimp on the Barbie.
Chicken, shrimp. Yeah, it's great. And I can't do accents, but Mauricio certainly can. And they are just endlessly amusing to me.
He is a really, really good time.
And then we've got Santiago.
Santiago is kind of our Medellin bestie. I feel like it's a little early to call it, but I think with 60% of precincts reporting, we can say Santiago, Medellin bestie.
Medellin bestie, and really dude for life, I think.
Yes. Now, Santiago, don't let the name fool you, is a gringo.
He's a good old Southern boy.
He sure is.
And he goes by Santiago, for reasons we described in episode 11.
Yeah, you can go back and figure that out.
It's interesting. It's scary. Santiago is what we'll call him. And he's our gringo, our brother. He's waiting for his girl back in Venezuela.
Yes.
Oh, you know what you want in a fixer? You want to fix her with a girlfriend.
Yes.
Who, maybe a wife, somebody that they really, really love. Just not
does he love her? So good.
Just not going to
So
creep
deeply.
on you at all, but just concerned for your welfare and maybe a brotherly, sisterly kind of way.
No, that's the thing about Santiago that I love so much is that we met him up at the pool and instantly he was our friend. And it's honestly just because he reminds me of people from back home. I keep wanting to call him by my brother's name. You know, because he just feels like that. And you don't understand what it's like. At least I didn't understand what it was like until I got out here, how much I actually miss home and I miss Americans. And I miss, like, sometimes it's just you go for days and then you see someone that's like just an American and you just sit down and you just talk about just like basic ass American ass shit. And it's so comforting.
He was like the quintessential American, the quintessential Southern American. I mean, if I didn't know better now, I'd say he could have walked out of a Toby Keith concert. He was up at the pool with a t-shirt with the sleeves ripped off, some shorts and some flip-flops, some Prada sunglasses, not even Ray-Bans. And we were like, Gringo.
And when he looked at us and he was like, Gringo.
He was like, ladies, what are you doing here? And he made it very clear that he was not a sex tourist, unlike a lot of the other gringos up at the pool.
Yes, he is not. He is a gentleman. And also, what I appreciate about Santiago so much is that I can really tell that he just cares about us because, like, we look like some girls from home. He's a little concerned.
Yeah.
He would like to make sure we make it out alive.
He's proud of us, though, for having the gumption to get on out here.
He sure is. He thinks he might die for our efforts, but, you know, gosh, does he respect the gumption.
Very excited to hear about our return home plans.
Yes. Yeah, I think he's just honestly a really like golden-hearted person who has taken a sincere interest in whether or not we live or die, and we're very thankful for it.
And he's out here waiting for his girlfriend in Venezuela, which is just I hear Venezuela.
Venezuela's not going to be on our travel plans because it sounds like it's kind of a mess over there right now.
Yes, but
she's got some visa stuff that she's working on, and he was hanging around waiting for her, hanging out at the pool, and we are so lucky and blessed that he was because we needed that gringo.
Well, we need fixers out here because there's one thing I want to make clear. When we read articles about Medellin before coming here, we didn't realize how many of them were written by men or what that meant.
So critical.
Or what that meant. It never even occurred to me to think of what does it mean when a man is writing a travel article versus what does it mean when a woman's writing a travel article? Because having been out here for, a few weeks now, I am comfortable in saying men have a completely different travel experience out here in Medellin, Colombia than the ladies do.
Absolutely.
We are treated much differently when there's even one man at the table.
Yeah, there's a whole there's just a whole layer of, it's not that these guys are wrong in what they're writing, but it's from their perspective. And there's whole layers of just like danger and discrimination that they can't possibly be aware of because they're not experiencing it. And so when we read these articles and we don't, and they're written by men, there's all kinds of shit that as a woman would have been pretty critical to know. These guys couldn't know it because they're not living it.
And they don't get treated the way that women do. They just do not live that experience. And traveling, it's like traveling to two completely different places.
It really is. It really is.
And if you're traveling with a husband, you might as well be traveling with a man or traveling as a man in a lot of ways, because across all cultures, there's one thing that is not weird to see, and it's a man and a woman together. You just assume it's a husband and wife.
Right. I mean, even in the United States, my experience as a woman is completely different when I'm with a man as opposed to when I'm by myself. Granted, I feel a lot more sure of myself because I'm more aware of the culture, so it's easier for me to keep myself safe. And I also feel like women just don't deal with the same shit in the U.S. that they deal with in some of these other places. But if there's even like one dude with your group, you know what's not going to happen is catcalling.
Nope.
You know, like street harassment doesn't happen if there's even one dude with you. And that's why I think guys don't understand what a prevalent problem it is, because it doesn't happen in front of them.
That's absolutely true. That's something that we encountered in Aguada, Puerto Rico.
Well, and I encountered that in my hometown. You know what I mean? You encounter that in... So anywhere you are, the perspective of a woman is going to be different. I'm not saying that those guys, their perspective is totally correct and valid.
Right.
But they can't know the female perspective. They just can't.
Another thing to consider as you're reading these travel articles is how long did the writer stay there? Because it is way different to stay in a place for 6 weeks than it is to stay for 6 days. You get a completely different level of depth.
Right.
The longer you stay there.
You do. And it gets, if there's crazy stuff going on, you just learn more about it. If there are risks, you just get more involved in them.
You learn the why behind things more.
You're more visible. People start to know things about you. It's good. It's cool. I actually, having had these experiences, I can't imagine ever traveling somewhere for less than a month.
I think a month, we've talked about this, at about 3 to 4 weeks, a place really starts to feel like home.
It does. It really, really does. And I think that's fantastic. I really like a lot of aspects of that, but there's also some harsher realities of staying somewhere for a month that you just have to be aware of.
Well, and all of this adds up to we need fixers, and I'm glad that we found them.
Yes, and we really lucked out with some really, really great people.
So like we said, we met Santiago at the pool. Pro tip, if you can get an Airbnb or a place with a communal pool, do so.
We have such success on any trip where there is a pool. I feel like we consistently meet people who help us out, and we also meet people who are just really awesome friends.
Yep. And it's because you're lounging at the pool, you get to overhear some conversations, you get to pick which ones you want to jump in on.
Everybody's chilled out.
On yours. Yep.
You're all in your bathing suit. That's the great equalizer.
You're all in the same place.
There's probably a little bit of drinking going on.
Maybe a little bit. A little social lubrication.
Yeah. It's
helping to slide on in there.
Yeah. A communal pool is a really great place to make friends. So if you can have a communal pool or even just some sort of a communal area, that's going to like really help you meet new people.
It'll help you make friends, potentially find fixers, and really get all the hot gossip.
Oh, the roof. The roof here is like the gossip hotbed. I feel like I know everything about everyone.
It's like the oasis in the desert where all of the desert animals come to drink, and it's this weird communal place where you see gazelles and alligators and lions and just predators and prey.
That's such a good description.
There are buzzards circling above head, and by buzzards I mean just very, very disturbingly large birds.
Yeah, that's not a metaphor. That part's real.
Pterodactyl style birds.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. Oh God, I can't even imagine what they say about us up there. But yeah, you get all the hot gossip. So yeah,
I mean, we're up there too. Couple Gringas.
Yeah, I can't imagine what they say about us. But getting a pool is pretty crucial if you want to meet people.
It's a fast way if you want to skip the whole Tinder thing. Let's say you're traveling as a couple, or traveling as a single dude. Even go hang out at the pool. You're gonna find some people you like.
Definitely.
In a building big enough. Using Tinder on the road. Speaking of the other way that we found our other
Yes.
fixer.
And that's going to be another episode, so we'll mostly let that go.
I will say you can really choose your own adventure on Tinder.
And you can also find just a real Easter egg or two in there.
Oh, you know what it's like? Me with the metaphors. It's like The Legend of Zelda, where you're like slashing at the bushes and sometimes you get the gems.
Yes.
And we've found some real gems.
We really have.
In these Tinder bushes in Colombia.
And we'll give you the tips on how you find those gems. Because we've really got that down.
We should probably talk about what our fixers did for us.
Yes.
Because they did a lot. And
so much.
In talking about fixers and how crucial they are, outlining all of the things that they've done for us so far, and this is just so far.
Right.
Can you imagine if we didn't have them? How much more difficult life would be? How easier it is once you're making friends on the road?
No, this trip so far without the things that they've done for us would be infinitely more difficult.
If you are traveling, you do not want to isolate yourself. In fact, you should find excuses. You should find meetup groups. There are all kinds of meetup groups and Facebook events that you can go to meet other gringos or gringas or just other people in general and not be lonely. Because if you are out here by yourself and something goes wrong, I don't even know what I would do. I at least have Kelly.
Right. And I also have to say, on top of that, it's, for me, has been the most rewarding part of traveling, has been meeting people. I think there's something so incredibly just affirming to meeting people on the road and helping each other out and being there for each other and forming these friendships. Just to know that you can find that sort of camaraderie, like out here, kind of what feels like the edge of the world, is like, it's kind of beautiful.
It really is. And it does feel like we're out here on the edge of the world sometimes.
And when you just meet people and like you show up for them and they show up for you, you become really good friends. I mean, I find myself just like emotional in an Uber. You know what I mean? After like a dinner or a fun night out or whatever, and just being like, God, how great is this?
Well, in most cases, you pick your friends by circumstance, and you pick them because they're your neighbors, or, you know, I don't have kids, but I imagine if I did and they went to Little League, then it would be the other parents whose kids are in the same Little League or the same classes as the kids. Or, you know, when you're in college, it's who's in your dorm, who's your roommate. Like, a lot of your friendships are largely circumstantial, and
Right.
It's a friendship out of convenience. Whereas when you're out and you're meeting 20 people at a Tejo game,
Right?
and you can say, well, 18 of you I'm not really that interested in, but there are 2 of you who seem really, really cool. And
what's been really cool about this experience too is that I feel like back home in the States, everyone's in this like really like heavy, kind of dark, like really divided place. And yet we're out here on the road. And for me, the last few months have been the exact opposite. It's been about connection. It's been about, you know, people coming together and helping each other out.
Yep.
You know, and it's, we've just been having such the opposite experience that sometimes it's hard to log on to Facebook and be like, what is all this shit? You know what I mean?
Traveling really does enable you to opt out of the Donald Trump presidency, or at least the headspace that presidency occupies in a lot of ways.
Right. And then out here, it's like you find your people and we're all just very connected, and we find that we have such a connection to like Americans, you know, and it doesn't matter what their politics are, what their beliefs are, or whatever. It's like we're all just out here and we help each other out. Totally different experience, and I think just much more positive.
Absolutely. So let's talk about what our fixers did for us.
Yes.
Because I think that we should get to that. So local translation, these were the easy things, right? Just translating with the locals.
Yeah, and our Spanish, it's getting better. We sure are trying.
We are still working on it, guys.
Yeah, but we have some friends out here, including our fixers, who speak wonderful Spanish. And I will say, having a local for this one is huge. Santiago's Spanish is very, very good, but having somebody local who can really explain stuff to you and who's not missing anything
and
is
knows
crucial.
all of the locals.
Yes.
And
crucial.
so he can just skip you right to that back table where the
Yes.
service is good and the scenery is great. Restaurant recommendations. Sommelier also.
Oh, yeah. Mauricio's really pulled through with the restaurant recommendations. In fact, some of our favorite restaurants in town so far have been all recommendations from Mauricio.
Courtesy of Mauricio. He knows what he's talking about, as you would expect. Oh, Mauricio also orders us food delivery.
That's the thing. So you can get almost anything And I mean really anything in this town delivered.
Unless you're a gringa trying to order in your broken Spanglish.
Yeah, and you don't understand what they're saying. It's even harder over the phone because there's no visual cues.
They won't even send it to you.
No, and they're just like, fuck this. So having somebody who actually speaks the language is like huge.
Well, and actually, on that point, Santiago has ordered delivery a few times.
Yes.
And they've told him it was coming, and it just never came. And he went downstairs and talked to the security guards about it, and they were laughing. And they said, it's because you're a gringo. They can tell you're a gringo.
Right, and they just won't bring you stuff if they don't feel like it, if it's late, if it's raining.
They'll tell you that they're going to is the problem.
Right.
So they're like, oh, any minute now. It's going to be right there.
Right.
And then it just never comes, and they all laugh at you.
So having Mauricio for that was great because he's at least Colombian and people actually deliver our shit.
He knew he had his own delivery driver that he would send to us.
He sure did.
And that was very nice. Wine also not big in Colombia, and we wanted to host a brunch. So Mauricio, speaking in that delivery, just sent us over a case of wine for our gringa brunch,
which was fantastic. Also, if you are in Medellin, you must go see Mauricio. He's the best sommelier in town.
I think the only sommelier in town. So I think there's like 2 or 3 of them,
the very
maybe.
best. Go see him at La Ravinia. It's in El Poblado. It's right near Calle 10. That's 10.
And tell him the Gringas.
The Gringas sent you. He'll hook you right up.
Oh, good prices, bulk discounts.
Yes.
Mauricio, high five. Santiago came through on the... Are you hearing this right now?
Are you? Yeah, if you can hear this with your ears, you can thank Santiago because our mic cord, one of our mic cords went out and we could not record. And Santiago totally hooked us up. This is so there's all kinds of shit around here. There's a place that's kind of like maybe like a Borders or a Walmart, somewhere in between there.
Mm-hmm.
There's an Office Max.
There's something that should be a Target but can't hold a candle to it.
Yeah. And so in one of those places we thought maybe, but no, you can't find any of that shit there. So he took us to this mall. It was a little terrifying, this mall. But he went with us. He didn't just tell us where it was. He went with us. He paid for the Uber.
This was a third world mall.
Yes.
Right? This was a sketchy, weird...
So you've got all these storefronts and then everyone's just sort of selling some stuff. And it's like, did this come out of your basement? Did it fall off of a truck? Like,
these
where did it
stores
come
are
from?
like cubby holes.
Yeah.
By the way.
So he takes us up to this, all the way up on the top floor, back in some corner. There's this store that has like some electronics in it, but I swear to God, they were selling like floppy disks in there. It was just like electronics, but like old ass electronics.
And again, where is the store? Because I'm looking at a large cubby hole.
Right.
It could have been a kiosk.
So I whip out my phone. Luckily, we have Santiago there to translate and show this guy this picture of what I need. And he disappears into what literally looked like a broom closet.
He went to Narnia.
Yeah, because he was in there for a very long time in this broom closet. And I thought there's no way in hell this dude comes out with our mic cord. He popped right out and he had them. He had multiples. We bought a bunch.
He had several. And we said, many, please.
Mas.
Trace.
Yeah.
Trace porfa.
Yeah, so we got those. So that was a huge save because the podcast, I mean, if we couldn't record it all while we're here, that would be crazy.
It would be a pain in the ass. So, Santiago, thank you for saving us with the mic cords. Santiago also saved us at restaurants, and this is going to end up in a where we went wrong because
it really is. We'll talk more about this and where we went wrong.
This was not our shining moment.
No, but we ended up at a restaurant that only took cash. And we had already just made a pretty copious order. And we had some money, but not enough money to cover that. And we decided we didn't like this restaurant anymore. We needed
this
to
restaurant
go.
It was not our favorite. And we wanted to actually go have dinner somewhere. And it was just one thing after another, not right. And so we wanted to leave, but we couldn't because they wouldn't take any of my cards. And we had some cash, but not enough cash.
Well, and I should also say that we were in a part of town where we didn't really totally know where we were.
ATMs, not plentiful around there.
No, and also I want to give bonus points to Santiago because first of all, spoiler alert, we texted Santiago and he left his dinner plans to come and bring us cash so that we could leave this restaurant.
Because one of us was going to have to stay there.
And one of us is going to have to leave, and we do not like to split up.
No, that was what was going to happen. So I started freaking out because I don't like to feel trapped. I started feeling very trapped because we found out there was no ATM around. So my first instinct was like, all right, can't be that far. Let me just go ahead and ATM real quick, right? Except for there aren't any. And the closest ATM, apparently, according to the multiple people that I talked to outside, was like a 10-minute Uber ride, 10-minute cab ride. So that means somebody had to stay at this table for 20 minutes by herself.
Probably more.
At this very local place.
Right. And here's the other thing is that Kari and I met up there. I got to that restaurant because I was trying to call an Uber. I could not get an Uber. Medellin is crazy because there's a million one-way streets, and sometimes your Uber is literally a block away, but it's going to take them 15 minutes to get to you because they have to like drive to the other side of town to get to where you are.
You can't get there from here.
It's really intense. So I was trying to get this Uber, and there was an Uber outside that I even got into, but then I was like, oh, this is not my Uber. But anyways, Santiago comes out, and it turns out it's his Uber. And he's like, oh, no, Gringa, I got you. And like he made his Uber take me to where we were going first. So he had already just been at this restaurant when we then texted him and told him that we wanted to leave. And he was going to go to his dinner plans and then left that because we were like, help.
Please don't make us split up because we never want to split up.
No, and he understood that, and he came and paid.
Never split up.
He came and paid that, and it really, I mean, it was seriously like we needed like $30 or something like that. It was stupid, but it would have been a huge thing, and he literally left to come help us out, and that was, to me, one of the single nicest things that anyone has ever done for me.
I totally agree with you, and we paid him back the next day and then took him out to dinner for reasons that we'll get into. You should always double pay the people who do nice things to you on the road. And you should pay it forward on top of it.
Because you want to encourage that. Wash dishes?
I wasn't going to do that, but I didn't want to leave you. But I wasn't going to be the one to stay. I was definitely going to be the one to get in the Uber.
Yeah. No, it was, that was a mess. Anyways, so thank you, Santiago.
Oh, God. That was a really scary situation.
It was really, really scary. It was also scary, although I think it needed to be scary because of the other thing that both of them did for us, which is that they just explained the local culture to us. Shit that we might not have gotten. Mauricio informed us that our favorite restaurant in town is one we probably shouldn't go to because that's just like a known cartel hangout.
They had a great burrata.
The burrata. The sangria.
The burrata and sangria at this joint are just spectacular.
So good. And Mauricio was like, that's where you're going.
He was like, no Gringas.
He was like, no Gringas. Because like everyone else in town kind of knows not to go there because that's where the cartels go. It's not for you. And we just showed up like, Gringas here.
No, and we liked it so much. We went back multiple times that week.
We sure did. And he let us know we shouldn't be doing that.
Maybe not there, Gringas. You pick a different place.
And we did.
We did. So explaining the local culture, God, we would pick that place. We would pick that place.
Of course we would. We have fantastic taste, and so do the cartels. We like a good burrata. It's something we have in common with the cartels.
Should we tell people what to look for and how to find fixers?
Yes.
Okay. So what you want to look for in a fixer is, well, first of all, the people who are most inclined to help you are other travelers. That's something that we learned right away.
I think that's absolutely true. So we had other people who were not necessarily even our fixers, but were other travelers that we met who really hooked us up. We had people lend us cash. Yep. The cash thing was huge. We have learned our lesson on that.
We always carry more cash than we think we're going to need.
And just some other things too. And it just turns out that travelers understand what it's like because we're all here. Basically none of us know anyone in this country. And so we have each other to rely on. And so most people, especially more seasoned travelers, which I feel like has been the bulk of the friends that we've made here.
All of our fixers have been seasoned
are like
travelers.
10 plus years on the road.
Yep.
And they are the most reliable people you will ever fucking meet. Ever. And it's because I think they know what it's like to have somebody flake on you. They know what it's like to have somebody screw them over. They know what it's like to be in a bind and need someone to help you out and there's no one to help you out. And so really those are the most reliable people in the world.
And just a little bit of kindness goes so far out here.
It really does.
It's gone so far for us.
No, because those people, listen, when someone does something for you out here, it's like even nicer than if someone did something for you at home, because often it's keeping you out of some serious danger or like just a wild inconvenience.
Well, and back home, you've got friends who are like, you've known them for 10.
It's like, if you're not going to help me out, I'll call somebody else.
Well, there's that. And also, I've known you for a very long time.
Right.
We go way, way back.
We
don't go way back with these people.
Right.
These people were just starting to go 5 minutes back with.
No, some of the people who have bailed us out have known us for a hot 5 minutes before they bailed us out.
And we have been so grateful. And I'll tell you what, I am so inclined to help other people on the road, because I know now. I know that panic. I know that desperation. I know how little effort it can take to make that all go away in the right circumstances.
Right, and if you can help someone, you absolutely should.
With Santiago, it cost $30 to make all of our problems go away, and that would have been hours for us.
Right.
And anxiety, and I can't even.
Right.
So we carry cash now.
But that's the other thing, is that so a fixer, we talk about fixers, but I want to be really clear. Listen, we are not above paying a fixer. We're not above importing fixers. We're not above any of that. But I think in a lot of the time, a fixer can and should be a friend.
I think so. And why not have long-term fixer friends?
Well, and because I guess when I say it's a friend, is because it's like it's not just transactional. It's like it's a two-way street. So if you really want to have good fixers on the road, you really need to seriously invest and develop your road karma.
And your relationships with other people that you meet on the road. So if you say that you're going to be somewhere and meet up with somebody at a certain time, you're there at that time.
Right. Yeah. If you want people to show up for you, you need to show up for them. And so you need to start cultivating that karma.
We've had people borrow cash from us. We've given it right back to them.
Yep.
Or they've given it right back to us.
No, and sometimes, listen, when you're a beginning traveler, as Kari and I are, I think we're seasoned compared to most people we know, but compared to the people that we find out on the road, these people who've been traveling nonstop for 10 plus years, we are just noobs. Actually, I loved it so
Brand
much.
new baby travelers.
Our friend Matthew Seth that we met out here.
Love Matthew Seth.
He's the best. Shout out Matthew Seth.
Another Southern boy.
Just love these Southern boys. And he said about us that we are like 4-year-olds who have just shown up to the ball pit at McDonald's. And like, that's our energy. And I actually appreciated that because to him, we're just newborn babes and we're so excited. And he's been doing this for 10 plus years.
Yes.
And so for him, I think he's kind of amused by just our glee.
We're so geeked about everything.
we really are.
We see the lights and we're like, aren't they pretty? And we see the bio bay and we're like, how can we swim in it? And we see all of these different things and we just want to touch it or get as close to it as we can and experience it, because isn't that what life's all about? And we work our asses off too.
Right. But he's also the person who taught us that when you are out on the road, you keep your word, you help people out, and you watch out for each other. Because I mean, he's said those things explicitly to us, and he's modeled that for us.
He kept you from getting your phone stolen the other night.
Yeah, he kept me from getting my phone stolen. He lent us a few bucks for Tejo when we needed it, when we did not bring that cash. He helped us procure transportation places. He was not an official fixer.
He stood outside of the ATM when I was getting my money. Well, he did say that the cab driver made him do that.
But he did. He still did it. He could have said no.
I told him he didn't have to tell me that. In the future, you just keep that to yourself and you just act like it was your idea to be chivalrous, Matthew Seth. And guys listening. We helped Santiago with a real problem.
Yeah. So as I was saying, we're kind of like newborn baby travelers. So in a way, when we ask for these big favors from people, it's like, how do we repay it? You know what I mean? Because when somebody is doing all this translation for you, solving problems for you, hooking shit up for you, it's like, how do you pay that back?
We take him out to a couple dinners.
Yes. And you find ways also with Santiago. Homeboy loves a vino.
He has sensitive, probably blue blood skin.
Very sensitive gringo skin.
Just needs a certain kind of moisturizer, and that certain kind is Aveeno for him.
And Aveeno, not down here.
No, not only can you not buy Aveeno in a store, you cannot have it shipped down. He's tried to order it multiple times. It keeps getting held up in customs.
Yes, it's really hard to order things in, and they don't have it here. So we had a friend come and visit, and that friend came with just a suitcase full of Aveeno.
Just for Santiago, and he was so happy.
He was so happy.
He couldn't smear that Aveeno on his skin fast enough, and I was just so happy to be able to give it to him 2.5 ounces at a time.
Yes. So you can find ways to pay back your fixers, even if you're a newbie traveler and you don't have a lot of fixing to offer. There's other ways.
So I think that we're looking forward to meeting more fixers on the road. I think that fixers are going to continue to be an integral part of our future travel experience
and of our friend group. I just think like these people, like when someone really shows up for you and helps you on the road, like tell me that you don't just love them forever.
No, we're going to love these people forever. Stephanie O'Connell, I mean, even just hearing her travel stories and sitting down and talking about what it's like to travel as a woman at the pool, and knowing that all of us had the same experience or similar experiences and we were still out there doing it anyway. Just the people you meet on the road are some of the most incredible that I've met. And although I don't get to spend a lot of time with them, sequentially, I'll say, the short amount of time that I've spent with the travelers that I've met on the road, including our fixers, has been some of the most impactful and transformative time that I've spent in, the last 5 years or so, 10 years.
Yeah, you end up going deep with people really quickly. I think you're just in a really vulnerable place, and we're all so different, right? It's people we're meeting from all over the world, all over the place, but it takes a certain kind of crazy to set your life on fire and to just travel. And there's a hunger in all of us.
Or not necessarily set your life on fire, but like put certain things on hold.
Right. And to say that traveling is what you want. Like if this is really what you want, I think there's like a few character traits there.
And there's a lot of sacrifice involved.
There is. There's a lot that you give up. There's a lot that you're saying no to. There's a lot that you're walking away from.
There's a lot that you're opting out of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that for people like us who have always craved this lifestyle, when we're out here and we're finally meeting people like us, because at home, I think a lot of people, when you start this, are like, you're crazy, or that's a lot, or it's just, you know what I mean? To really do it. I guess what I'm saying is there's a common thread between us. No matter how different we are, we all have this hunger and this desire and this curiosity.
And genuinely cool stories, bro.
Genuinely cool stories, and meeting people who are like you and who also are just as invested as you are in just like chasing a really cool story.
And the weird.
Yeah, and I have had some of the most fun nights of my entire life out here in Medellin, and I'm sure there's only more to come.
We've had dance parties. Oh, a fixer is somebody you should be able to have a late night dance party with.
Yes.
Maybe to a little November Rain. Maybe to a little Total Eclipse of the Heart. Maybe to a little Heaven is a Place on Earth. Fixers love to dance.
They better, or they're going to learn.
Right? We'll teach them. So I think that wraps the Fixers episode.
Yeah, I think we did it, girl.
Right?
Yep. Shout out once again to Mauricio and Santiago.
And William and Alex.
Yes.
The Fixers, the original Fixers, the OFs.
We've been talking about we need to get them like jerseys.
Yes. Oh, we're going to get you guys jerseys. And it's going to be like Fixer 1, Fixer 2. It's going to be great. You're going to love it.
You're going to love it.
You're going to love these.
You're going to
love these jerseys, guys.
All right. I think we did it.
Coming up next, Tindering in Cartel Country.
Yeah, stay tuned for those hot takes because they're going to be hot. This has been another episode of the Workationing podcast. If you like what you heard here, make sure to like, rate, subscribe, and leave us a review on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, or wherever else on the internet you're hearing this.
You can also go to workationing.com. That's workationing.com.
Hey you, how are you? those things. I just called you to say g'day. I just called to say hi. But your phone is like off or something. So I wasn't going to leave a message to the content factory or whatever that is thing. Okay, I'm in San Francisco. Just got to San Francisco today after a fucking long tripping day. They hauled me up back in bloody Seattle, and so I lost my plane. And well, anyways, I just made it to San Francisco on my way to Napa Valley. Alrighty, just called to say hi. So hope you will, and Kelly as well. Alright, take it easy. I'll talk to you later. Ciao.